have with us Mr. V V Balaji, who's the CTO of ICICI Bank. And it's not just about his banking experience. He's one of those few people who comes with a background of banking, insurance, telecom, and automobile. And that is where he plays a big role for us in his views in this book. Thank you, Balaji, for taking our time. And
Thanks,
you have
Ganesh.
been a very
Thanks.
cordial person always. So I'll directly jump into a few my favorite questions. Okay, sir. So, Balaji, first of all, you come with a background of a cost accountant, okay, and you have worked in various functions of finance, customer service, operations, technology, in all the four domains of banking, telecom, insurance, automobile. I'm not going into individual ones, but with this varied experience, okay, which you have seen over the last over 2 decades, what are your and you've seen the BFSI sector also going from one level to another. So, what are your views on the digitalization levels in our banking and insurance sector? You can say BFSI. Do you think we are really fully digitized as on today? One uh, definition. When I say digitized, I don't mean automated. I mean absolute end-to-end processing of without any manual intervention. So, where do you still see the scope for improvement? That's the
I,
start point.
I,
Let's say.
okay, I will put it in three different planes, Ganesh. One, if I talk about banking per se, the servicing part of the bank is almost digitized across. I'm not talking about only ICICI Bank. Of course, ICICI Bank maybe 1 or 2 percentage notches higher than the others, but almost all banks I can talk about is 90 plus percentage of the services are completely digital. Service part, that is post person coming in, where they have a long way to go is in onboarding a customer. That is where some of the fintechs come into the picture. Onboarding customers, still there are lots of varied this one within the banking industry per se. As far as ICICI Bank is concerned, we definitely be in the top bracket of the digitization in terms of that. But still, even for all the banks put together, bank as a category, we have a way to go on that particular part compared to a fintech. If I talk about fintech and all, they have done quite a bit of digitization compared to banks per se in onboarding a customer. But as far as service is concerned, today all the banks, I can tell you that uh, uh, percentage of service done in a branch or in a call center is in single digit percentage across the industry. The entire service is done this one. This is on the banking part. As far as the insurance part is concerned, I can still say quite a bit of the general insurance is very highly, I would say, digitized compared to a life insurance. Life insurance, I would say, is the I mean, you are also from life insurance industry. I'm also from that. I can tell that it slightly lags behind in that sense. Maybe because it is not a pull product. It's a more like a pull and push product rather than a pure pull product. Banking is a pull product, and this one general insurance is again partly pull, partly push. Pull in the sense all vehicles insurance and all are complete pull, okay, but they don't do anything. People have to take insurance. Health is where the push comes into picture. Health also, corporate health is again full product. Nobody need to do anything. It gets for this one. So in areas where there are full, I think the industry has done quite a bit of digitization. But in wherever there is a push product, that is where huge, maybe because of the relationship coming to the picture, I'm not justifying, but that is one area where digitalization has happened, but not digitization. Yeah.
Okay. Since you spoke about customer service and more than 90% being done in the banking side, can you be more specific with examples both on banking and insurance, if possible, on creating a customer delight through leveraging technology?
Yeah, I will put a customer delight. the second part. First part is as a customer yourself, when have you last gone to a bank branch other than a locker, using a locker or something like that? When have you actually lost gone to a bank branch? Huh?
Wrong question to ask to a wrong person, sir, because I had to go to the bank because whenever there is a requirement for a joint account, KYC doesn't happen on an automated mode.
That's what I said. In
Okay,
the first part I asked, told is on the service side, it's okay. On the onboarding side, when you're onboarding a customer,
I'm talking about
there
onboarding. I'm not talking
digitization
about
is very
onboarding,
bad.
sir.
Huh?
I'm talking about servicing.
Uh,
I have got an account with, you can say all the four or five big banking, the digitized bank of the country, you can say, or the digital edge bank, whatever you want to say. And I am a wealth customer or a Burgundy or a Privy customer, whatever names you guys have. I'm among all those, and I am facing challenges. Okay, that's where this
okay.
book comes into picture because we do believe we are digitized. I'm not at all doubtful about it, but I see a lot of gaps. For example, the KYC requirement after every 3 months, 6 months. It looks very simple, but it is not. Like I get SMSs saying that your this account, this customer profile number, there's a KYC pending. I start wondering, "Arey, but my CRN number is different. I call up my RM. He says, sir, this is the CRN where your daughter is having a minor account. Why the hell did you not have the same CRN for me? Practical difficulties. Okay. Now, when I said, let me do it digitally, no, sir, don't worry. We'll send our person to your house. I'll come to your house and get it done. But why do you need
What
a
I meant
paper?
was, what I meant, Ganesh, was that why I said onboarding is okay, we are lagging behind is
So
mainly
this is not
because of the
onboarding,
reason
no.
of KYC.
This
No,
is
no, no.
servicing,
I'm
no.
just saying KYC. I'm saying wherever KYC is involved, where
Okay.
what I was trying to say was
Okay. Okay.
wherever
Okay.
wherever KYC was involved, majority of the time KYC is involved in the onboarding. But re-KYC is one big, this one re-KYC is one area where the banking industry is bad, I can tell you. But for your day-to-day transactions,
Yeah.
you don't
Fair.
have
That's
to,
right.
banking is about day-to-day transactions.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to worry about your day-to-day transactions, this one for a bank, anything. And I can tell you, whether you may, this one, you can put it this one. Indian banks, I'm saying Indian banks, that way is far more digitized compared to its counterparts across the West, any of the Western
That's
countries you
lovely.
take, because because our payment system, mainly the payment system, is far more evolved and matured compared to our counterparts across the globe. I'm
No
talking
doubts.
about Indian banking system. Uh, Nowhere in the world there are six payment methods which work 24 by 7 with two-factor authentication. Nowhere in the world it is there.
Absolutely.
And that is happening. I mean, touch wood, I should not say. Very, very, very smooth, smooth manner. You would have seen what you call this one. What you call UPI. You would have used
Yeah.
UPI. You that kind of facility is nowhere in the world. Of course, UPI is created by NPCA, no doubt, but all banks are participating in that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
all our payment systems, all our payment transactions, which you talk about, this one, it's a very pretty smooth affair. In fact,
So in fact, my
one of
book
the
starts with
professors,
that, and I'm
one of
saying
the
that that's a
professors,
benchmark for us.
one of the professors of New York University, I was talking to him. This one, of course, I will not tell the name of the bank. It will not be right on my part to do that. But he said that he's an Indian, no doubt. That's why I talked to him very personally. I talked to him in Tamil only, so it's very easy to talk to him. He was telling his account with one of the banks there. Uh, uh, he says that if he opens the internet banking of their of that bank, one of the top banks you can think of. internet and call the relationship manager, both will tell different balance. And he walks into a branch, all the three would be different. so so in India we are much advanced in terms of handling many of the service. But of course, wherever KYC is involved, this is the point I was telling in the beginning. Wherever KYC is involved, we falter. Somewhere, somewhere because that process is not smooth. I will not blame the regulation for that. Regulation could be one of the regulation has to be there. There's no question that regulation will not be there. But the point is, you have people, Indian Jugaad is forcing the regulator forcing it to be a little bit more strict than what it is. Because even if they give one small hairline gap, people will use that and start this one. This is a problem. Almost all the people who use you try changing your address with a trading trading site. I mean, you will understand the difference. Huh? It's much tougher only because KYC, nothing else.
Yeah,
So
I
I
know
think
that.
we can't do it with KYC because lots of unwanted people also use the banking. Unwanted people also use this one. KYC is a must. Maybe some of the industries, if you're talking about KYC, is not like, for example, if I take why general insurance is slightly ahead compared to the life insurance is also because of KYC. For them, general insurance is know your car, not know your customer. Here, you should know the customer, know your customer. There's a huge difference.
Agree. Very true. Good. So I think you spoke about the same thing on the KYC piece, and you did mention about servicing. Now, as a customer, Balaji, I feel that the technology used by various organizations, whether it's a bank or an insurer or any new startup, we can say, or fintech or itself, are absolutely operational efficiencies and cost savings driven. But maybe sometimes I believe it is not from a customer convenience point of view. Okay, that is more to do with technology, customer service, the workflow of the bank or the insurance company. So there's a great difficulty in reaching the customer care department of any organization today. Okay, because of the chatbots which are kept in the front end, it's like a warrior. You have to first fight and then go in. And there are hundreds of limitations with all the chatbots, I'm sure you would agree. And the built-in understanding logic. Because whether it's a bank or an insurance company or any of the latest startups, okay, whether it's a cars aggregator or a food aggregator, anybody. So they believe that the chatbot is trained with everything and only exceptions are there. No, I believe that there are lots of basic transactions which are not built in over there. It may not be routine, but it is still basic. So, because of this, it's become very difficult to reach the real customer care of a bank or an insurance company or any of the startups. So, what do you think is the reason for this, and how can this be addressed?
Okay, there are multiple elements to what you're saying. First element is compared to a global bank, say you take a US bank or Indian bank or a US insurance company with an Indian insurance company. What is the problem which we have, which they don't have? Suppose if I say 1% of my cost I can afford, what is the one ticket value of that 1% in US is different from ticket value of India. But the service provided, if you have to buy, invest in technology, if I have to invest in people, the cost is similar. So cost is similar, but the ticket size is variant. So we have a bigger problem on the cost compared to many of our global peers. That is point number one we need to understand. First
Very
point.
good point.
Second point is there are many areas in banking and insurance where we don't pay for it. Like, for example, the same airline industry, if I take to a low cost airline, you have to pay everything. The earlier before low cost airline, we never valued certain things which are there. Now we start valuing. There, but imagine some 10 years back, people used to give newspapers in the flight. They used to give this one. So actually, some of the costs are not this one. I would say some of the banking and other products, like for example, UPI. UPI, it's completely free for the customer. There's nothing customer has to pay. There's nothing a merchant has to pay. This one, and entire percent funded by banks. So actually, there are lots of areas where activity-based pricing was not there for the banks. So that is where the need for cost reduction comes into picture, which is more than the profit motive. It has nothing to do with the profit motive. Profit motive is of course is there, but I'm saying uh, uh, need for this one is there because this one is not priced. For it, you have to make a payment. This is one angle. There is a second angle. First angle is the ticket size. Second angle is the need for uh, rightful charges. It cannot be fleecing the customers. That I agree with you that we cannot be fleecing the customers, but it has to be a rightful charge to provide a service. That's the second part. Third part of the problem is if I talk about say you would be a customers to ecom, this one, all of us, nobody can say we are not. Have you ever tried calling the Amazon call center?
Yes.
Could you
They are among
succeed
the
that?
best. Yes.
No, no. Once I tried calling. Once I tried calling the Amazon call center. I didn't know where to call, how to call. As a customer, I struggled very long time to even know where to call. This one, you have to go through their this one and then come. But one point which they make, which we have to, the banks and the insurance companies have to reach, is that point. That point, the need to call is very limited. See, actually, how do we ensure the need to call is limited? Rather than expanding the scope for calling, how can I bring the need to call completely, which means
Yes.
provide service properly, and where Indian banks and Indian insurance companies miss is communicating properly. If we communicate things properly to the customers call because they are anxious. They have to this one, that anxiety
Right.
management is one area where people have to address so that the calls itself comes down. Once calls itself comes down, the ability to answer calls are much better.
Correct.
By this way, when they call for anything and everything, it is always a race against time, and
True.
you can't really hold people. Where are our call centers? Our call centers in Hyderabad, all these places.
Vizag.
I no, but we have in Hyderabad, we have in one in Chennai, we have one in Mumbai, and all, where regular call centers are also there. So people keep on changing. You can't really retain people there.
True, true.
The industry average is around 30%, 40% turnover. So at any point of time, 30%, 40% would be new people will be answering the call center. So training, continuous training them. So the fundamental point which we need to fix is that how do we communicate better? How do we communicate better to the customers so that the anxiety comes down? And how do we this one, reduce the scope for calling, so that call happens because of one, bad communication, number two, what is going off the process. So how can we manage both and reduce
Yes.
the calls? Is a long term solution than handling too many calls, because there's no end to it. So unless we fix these two, this will continue to be a problem. But I can tell you that, like, of course, ICICI Bank is working on that very, very. This one, we have done lots of strides in that. Lots of strides in that. So are some of the banks whom I know from the industry sources that they are also working. I think we are definitely better than what we were, say, 2 years back. And I can tell you we'll be much better than what we are 2 years since.
So, the good thing you told about Amazon. So the best part about Amazon is, of course, on the app, when you go to customer service, they keep on. But then there's always the last window which will say, "Do you still want to talk? We will get back to you."
Correct.
And within 45 seconds or 60 seconds maximum, even at night 2 o'clock, they call you back, and the problems are 100% resolved. My experience in last 5, 6 years with Amazon is 100% resolution at any point of time. And second, to be honest, if I were not to advertise this, American Express
I'm
Bank.
very happy with Amazon. Is that they have addressed the anxiety very well. In the last six
Yes.
7 years, I'm using Amazon. My need to call them was only once, and I struggled on that time. But the point is, the need to call itself is not there. Why should I call them if they have given me everything in the app? My worry is what? Whether thing is in pipeline. My anxiety is what? I have paid money. Is the item coming or not? That is my only problem.
Okay.
But
Incidentally,
that they are providing in a complete tracker.
yeah, maybe I'm a UAT guy, so probably I do things a little funnily, intentionally, unintentionally. So I have been calling Amazon
You
app
are
at
not
least
a
15, 16 times.
no. Intelligent people like you are not representative customers, Ganesh.
So,
you
so
are you are you
basically,
are that 1%. I am still
yeah,
worried about the 99%.
yeah, true. So I had a lot of reasons for calling, and every time the reason has been different. But the best part is Amazon has managed it.
Yeah.
Okay. My experience with the basket deliveries guys or the aggregate cabs is absolutely bad. So that is where I'm trying to say that we need to work on that front. Okay, and that's a big scope. Okay, I think that is a fair answer from your side. Happy to learn. So maybe I'll ask you other way around. So something from your problems, like what are the challenges that the BFS as an industry is facing in leveraging complete technology efficiency? Like, okay, best usage of credit score, best usage of IIB for the insurance part, or the account aggregators. Now we have the insurance repositories. We have, of course, we don't have centralized medical records. We don't have proper financial information of the clients in a centralized manner. So, what do you think are the challenges? Can this be addressed?
I will tell you the challenges for each of the industry separately. What I think for this one, you will also relate it better. See, in banking, the challenge is banking has become 24/7 in the last 4 5 years. From 2019, if I say, even NEFT RTGS got converted to 24/7. So it has become complete 24/7. But the systems are not original. When systems were there, it was not designed for 24/7. You had this one. So we have to make good of it by doing lots of work outside the this one through lots of satellite systems. We are able to manage. But the core part of, I'm not talking about the core system, I'm talking the core part of the technology across the banks. In say 7 8 years back, but this one is not done with 24/7 in mind. That is one. And number two, the volumes of the bank is pretty huge and it is improving day by day. Improving day by day is, I would say, there are three ways our numbers keep growing. One, GDP itself is growing because the banks have got this one to GDP. If GDP grows at some percentage, like, banking transactions will go up. That is one. Number two, the proportion of cash transactions in the economy is coming down, and the digital transaction is going up. So even if the GDP, so in addition to the GDP growth, this growth is also happening.
True.
So that is expanding very well. In fact, in the last 7 8 years, if I talk, banking industry opened 60 crore bank accounts. To that extent,
Wow.
even unbanked have started banking. Same GDP also, if you take, the number of transactions you're going to do would be larger than what we were. So it is in addition to the GDP growth, I'm saying. GDP growth is the financial inclusion growth. And the third growth is, even within that particular thing in industry, some people are growing faster than others. So those people, that's the third growth. So even if I take this one, the growth is phenomenally high. It's in multiples of percentage of GDP is what the growth on transactions are happening. So which means the systems have to be, one is already making the system 24/7, and number two, the number of transactions also going up. It's a double whammy problem to handle at any point of time. My worry is not today all banks are capable of handling. But I'm saying, if this is the growth, what is going to be 10 years later? What is going to be 7 8 years later? 2030, if we take, what will be the volume? We are talking about 3 times, 4 times the volume a bank could be handling. But whether all banks, of course, banks like us, we invest technology in advance and we wait for a problem, we define a problem and work towards that. But not everybody is working. So there could be some disruptions in the industry per se because of the growth in volumes, and some people necessarily have to cut down some business to meet the volumes. So this is the banking per se is the problem with that this one. There's more internal than external, I would say. Number two, if I talk about insurance, there is no civil equivalent of IAB. Why? Okay, there are lots of life insurance have and even health insurance have lots of checks, because the overinsured, the way we check whether a person is overinsured, or the way we check whether a person is financially financial underwriting, in the sense that whether he is worth to have that kind of this one, uh, and all are checked, or whether he is having a pre-existing disease. These are the three things we are checking. This one, whether he is overinsured, or this is what we are checking. I think if you have a civil equivalent in the life insurance industry, where we can check the one and two, of course, medical also you're talking about, is there a medical, this one, that will take a very, very, very long time to come. It's not immediately. But can IIB act as a this one for one and two? Then lots of insurance will become very, what should I say, easier than what it is today. The moment you make it easier than what it is today, the real digitization kicks in, and the insurance penetration in the country itself will go up, because the lots of restrictions on, because of this, lots of questions we ask people are only on this, and lots of work is, if I just have a ping to say IAB, if Balaji is applying, if IAB has the detail of Balaji, it can come back and say is already overinsured. Or then the related questions and related this one checks and related time wasted by the industry itself comes down. This one, the civil equivalent of IAB can be definitely made a civil equivalent. This is where some of the public
IIB,
infrastructure.
LIC doesn't contribute to
No,
IIB.
no, I'm just
That's
saying.
a big
See,
problem.
in civil, nobody can say they are not contributing. It
True.
had a regulatory oversight on that. Maybe somewhere regulatory or legislative. This one. See, we are talking about. See, if we talk about regulators, you talk about who are the financial regulators. Reserve Bank of India. Okay. Then Securities Exchange Board of India. Only in one industry, the name of the regulator is called Insurance Regulatory and Development
Development.
Authority. So all other, this one, do not have even development in their name. See, please understand.
Yes.
Insurance as a regulator has a development as in the name itself, leave alone the agenda. So they should be talking about why the name development came, because the insurance penetration in the country is small. It's very small. If India has to aspire to be the third biggest economy, it has to have insurance as an industry a little bit more penetrated than what it is today. It should be 3 times than what it is today. This one, I mean, imagine the kind of this one the country is going to get if it becomes 3 times more than what it is today. That is why the name itself has a development. You just check any other this one, they do not have. PFRDA is there. That is also a development in the right side, because in the pension space
Retirement.
it has to develop. Otherwise, tomorrow India will have a problem of old age people sitting, they don't know what to do. So there's a problem of living, which will be pension, and problem of dying, which is insurance. So these two problems, if we have to do that, we need to remove all the barriers and make things more transparent. The problem with insurance is that because it doesn't have the transparency of a person. I'm not talking about the problem with the industry, but the problem of the entire ecosystem. If since there is no transparency to the insurance company to check whether a person is overinsured or whether the check is overstating of their insurance, this one. since people do not have that ability to check it with a small ping, they are making all the controls. They are putting all the stoppages. If I can understand, you will know the industry much better than I do. You're a bigger industry veteran than me. But this one, if you have that cleaned, I think India can grow. Insurance penetration can be 2-3 times more than what it is today.
Great. So, taking that question forward, okay, since we spoke about the IIB piece and all those things and civil, do you think as a nation, okay, or as a BFS as an
No,
industry,
no,
uh,
just 1 minute. Sibyl, just only one
yeah,
second. Sibyl, I will clarify on the Sibyl part. The entire retail banking started growing in the country only because of Sibyl. Because banks
you're using
don't.
that civil and not credit bureau. Anything, any specific reason?
No, no, no. It's a credit bureau. What I mean is credit bureau.
Ah,
It's like you Google it, Xerox it. It's like a
okay.
it's like a word it was used.
Okay,
It's a
fair, fair.
credit bureau. What I meant
Yeah.
is credit bureau. Any credit bureau. I don't promote anybody, so don't worry about it. It's a more of a words which I use, which is coming out.
Fair, fair.
Any credit bureau, for that matter, made the industry much better. It becomes cleaner, and it is like having a brake in the car. I'm having brake in the car. That is why I'm driving fast. If I don't have brake in the car, I will drive very slow. If you have to
Right.
drive the car fast, I need to have a brake. Credit bureaus actually provided anytime I can stop a wrong payer from this one. If I have the ability, then ability to onboard lots of customers have gone up.
True.
So that is what has to happen for the insurance industry, and that is where I think this one, and medical also is one, but medical will take a long time. There's no infrastructure. Creating that medical infrastructure across the country is going to take a very, very long time. No country in the world has made it a very this one. Maybe I don't know, 1 or 2 countries might have done it, but not countries have mastered it. But on the insurance
They
thing,
still
we
have
have a
medical,
bureau.
centralized medical records. They do have centralized medical records, which we don't
But
have at
how?
all.
What is the comprehensiveness of that? You will not have comprehensive. See, we can still create a medical record, but how comprehensive it is? How do I know
Yeah.
that? For that, it will take 10 years.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
least.
OPD is a big problem. There are
uh,
100 doctors in every gully.
Correct. So that OPD part, you will never be able to do that, even if you medical this one. So you
True,
can,
true.
you will still have to do checks on that. So I'm not talking about that, but at least the financial part would be done through IIB in a great way. Yeah, yeah. You are asking questions, Ganesh.
See, in fact, since we spoke about medical, the last part probably of the earlier question is financial. Again, we are not able to get a proper centralized financial records. Credit bureau is only one part. Credit bureau gives the credit score, the credit history, the pattern, but doesn't. For example, let's say if I don't have a credit card or don't have a loan, credit bureau is not going to give much about me. But suppose if I have a savings account, an FD,
Only
my
that,
trading account,
only that portion banks have to think through how do I underwrite. But
yes,
that is how much percentage. You see, how much percentage of the people are getting into that. People who are new to income are the people who wouldn't have touched any of this. Like for example, my daughter, she started earning this one. She doesn't have any credit record. So far, her father has been her ATM, father has been her loan provider. So when she started earning, she doesn't have a credit score as of now because she has not taken anything. But only those people, they have to concentrate and find out how do we do that. But rest of the people, 90% of the earning members in the country, we going through some credit or the other in a different way. At least a credit card people will have. At least like if I'm a
that's right.
businessman, I would have at least taken one loan. So actually, quite a bit. And also, it is not just about the credit score we are talking about. Credit bureaus I'm talking about. I'm talking about even banking system. If a tomorrow account aggregator, is another area which is going to come. It is not yet shown result, but I can tell you next 3 years, 4 years, at least the this one is that the ecosystem is started, uh, next 3-4 years, you will see account aggregator will provide a very large this one. I know you have a digital way of communicating with me on what is your financial strength through account aggregator. This one that is another major this one as far as the banking system is concerned. So
So
I
what are the
think
challenges on the
that
account aggregator side? Why it's not picking up? They have put in their best efforts. Customers probably are not comfortable using the PIN or the password. Is that also what is the reason? Account aggregators, I expected them
no,
to be
for
faster.
for everything there is a tipping point. I think UPA is a fantastic one, but till COVID, how many percentage of people used UPI? There has to be one tipping point. But the point is, the infrastructure is there. Is for a
Hmm.
person who is willing to do that, can I make life easy? That particular thing is there, and I am personally giving account aggregator another 2 years to mature, 2 years, 3 years to mature. Maybe
Okay.
2027 or something like that. You see, you have this one. Even if IIBs come with a credit bureau account aggregator equivalent in the insurance industry, that will take 4-5 years. But there's no site for that 4-5 years also. That is why I was talking that is a immediate action we have to
So
take as a country.
yeah, yeah. My book has an interview of the CAMS account aggregator as well as the CAMS insurance repository. Also, I've spoken to their MDs as well. So one point I would like to take it forward from your last answer. You said about your daughter. Of course, the examples of your daughters would be exceptions, right? That's fair. But apart from that, there is one big problem of our country. I'll not say problem, one big sector of our country. India is officially at least 60% agriculture dominated country, right? And over 60% of our population is dependent on agricultural revenue, which is significantly different compared to anybody else in the country, in the world. Now, there are challenges revolving around this agricultural income documentation. Okay. In the life insurance industry, where we have to work on the gross annual income of the life to be insured. Okay. It becomes a little challenging. And still, there is cash in that industry. And how do you think we would be able to underwrite the people from this sector? And how will Digital India help us? Okay. When I say underwrite, I mean underwriting from banking, insurance, every point of view.
Okay, it is a problem, no questions about it. But the answer to that is only financial inclusion. Bringing them into the banking industry is what is going to make them pretty this one. And I can tell you that many of them are in the banking industry at this particular point of time. It may not be to the extent you desire. That I agree with you, that it's not that every income of there goes through the bank account, but quite a bit of them it goes through the bank account. Now, lots of government transactions are all money is going through the banking system. The bank, even subsidy is paid through banking system. So that way, quite a bit of the groundwork is there to make it come to the this one. But I agree with you, we have a long way to go there. But whether the ecosystem, the railroad has been created for that, answer is yes. There is a
Mhm.
railroad created for that. And there has been a pretty big usage of that. This one with I don't know. I'm from the agricultural family myself, so I can talk about agricultural family also. My father and all, we used to do agriculture in our village. So I can tell you that today, when I go to my village, they are not getting any labor for agriculture. That's gone. They are not able to this one. When I went to somewhere in Punjab for personal tour, the people there were telling that the agricultural laborers are from UP and Bihar. There are no agricultural labor left in Punjab. So there are no agricultural labor left in Tamil Nadu. They are getting from outside. This is
True.
directly from our village. I can tell you, people are
But
saying
we
that
don't
they are
get
not getting
papers.
laborers. Huh?
We don't get financial documents for underwriting
No,
them.
no. See, the point is, it has also become affluent. What I was trying to say is, the thing has become so affluent that people do not want to do a labor. See, please, this one. That is the turning of agriculture was a huge loss-making proposition till some years back also. But today, if you are a landowner, you are no longer this one with that. You have become a little bit more affluent. Of course, it will take time for it to come into the banking industry, but I think the railroad is there and the work is on. I think come 4 5 years, I think we'll get there as well.
Okay. I'll just move from this piece to another one, the fraud area. The banking sector sees lots of digital frauds. And of course, there are lots of customer-centric communications coming out from RBI, from every bank, etc., etc. But still, fraudsters are one step ahead or many steps ahead in this. And customers are finding it difficult to get their lost monies back. Do you think there's anything better to do? Anything better can be done to avoid such frauds in near future using smarter technologies
Yeah, yeah.
in your
I'll tell you some work. I think you
sorry.
got logged off.
By mistake
I
from my
got
side, it got disconnected.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
No, no.
Yeah.
I understand your question.
And
I
on the
understand.
same part, since I want to add up one more question. You know, insurance industry is about the frauds in insurance industry is catch me if you can. Okay, there is no law which says that what there is punishment. So it's like this. If I get caught, my claim gets repudiated, nothing more. So both these answers, like digital frauds and insurance frauds, what do you
Okay,
think is a solution?
I'll talk about digital frauds. Digital frauds actually some work is happening in the background. Maybe you will see it in the next 1 or 2 years.
Mhm.
There are two initiatives with regulators is taking this one along with RBI is taken up with this one. I don't know how much we can publicize, but the point is very progressive steps. They have talked to TRA, DOT, and all. They are reserving exclusive number series for banks. So tomorrow, once it gets implemented, I think it's a very progressive steps. Once it gets implemented, people in the road can distinguish calls coming from banks and calls coming from people who say that they are from banks. See, where majority of the digital frauds happen because some people talk like banks and some people talk like financial institutions and then they defraud the customer. That is where the fundamental activity on the fraud is happening. There, along with, of course, with the help of the ministry, with the help of the this one, telecom, this one, for banking system and the financial institutions, they are creating a separate number series, which can be given only to financial institutions. That number series, you and I cannot take it. So any fraudster, if he has
What
to
about the
call,
DSAs to call up on behalf of the banks?
it has to be this one. It has to evolve. I think, but the point is whether the customer will be able to find out whether it is a call coming from the bank network or from outside the network. That customer can identify if this gets implemented over a period of time. It will take some time for us to be implemented. I think
Okay.
when it happens, it's a very progressive steps in reduction in the frauds. One. Number two, even in the links which you get, I mean, how the frauds happen, either through call or through links. In the links also, what this one is, there is the government is talking about how can we have a separate this one for banks, .bank.in kind of separate domain IDs separately created for banks so that people can
Wonderful.
distinguish whether it is a genuine or not genuine. That domain nobody else would be today. Anybody can this one create a domain which is not this one. I mean, they make one or two this one and people will fall for it. But if you don't even get the domain, this one, then you can distinguish what is this one. So these are 2 3 activities being done in the background. I think you will get to know probably about in a year or so later, maybe next year 2025 December, if we speak to each other, maybe a little bit more educated about this. And for the
Yeah.
insurance part, you catch me if you can. There again, the brake is there in the car, not to stop the car, but to drive fast. If you want to drive the industry for, fast, there has to be some one or two brakes. You can't say catch me if you can and find out. Then all the industry players will be constrained to prevent fraud. The entire this one is about if the 1% is the fraud, you are making 99% pay for it. Okay,
Okay.
for that 1% fraud, where is the break? That is why the kind of control that need to be worked out. If you ask me what are the answer from my side, I may not have it at this point of time, but that is what the industry should think through and then come with that.
Great. Right. Thanks, Balaji. I'll, I think you have said a lot about future also, so I'm not going to ask you a specific question. Where do you see insurance and banking 5 years then and all? So I think that's a lot of things.
No, I only
Usually,
only one point on the future. I will tell both the banking and insurance. That
yeah,
5 years later, if you take the right steps today, the number of banking as well as insurance in the next 5 to 10 years. In 10 years per time, I'm seeing insurance industry at least 3 times than what it is. Like, at least 3 times, if you play it correctly. If you play it correctly, I think at least 3 times than what it is. Imagine the insurance company's book now into three is going to be in the next 10 years. What we created in the 25 years as an insurance industry, this one, it is 3 times than that would be the this one. That is the huge play. Banking would be similar.
great. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your time. So I'll come and personally meet you. And it was a pleasure talking to you. And
All
your
the best.
views are
All the best.
absolutely brilliant. Thank you, sir.
All the best. All the best, Ganesh. Thanks.
Thank you.